Hello and welcome to the Sakhir circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix, the opening round of the 2023 Formula SimRacing World Championship. My name is Edward Hunter and here's all the news heading into the first race of the season. Jan Vosnitzer and Noah Roivers have parted ways with NetRex, meaning that Spaniard Carlos Martin returns for the first time since Silverstone last year, alongside veteran Dutch driver Danny van den Niet. Robin Pansar was also unable to compete, meaning that the Hungarian reserve driver Christoph Zell makes his World Championship debut for Race Clutch. NX27 driver Jake Dennehan secured his first pole position in the World Championship and held off Arnold Brabham's Janos Braksok into the first corner to lead the field away. There was then disaster for TX3 as Mark Schleuter collided with teammate Jannik Bock on the run into turn 4. Colin Spork and Sander Callis went off track trying to avoid the wounded car of Schleuter, as Liam Deval also made contact with Zolt Zux and Michi Hoyer in amongst the confusion. Dennehan completed his first lap in the lead as Deval found Callis relieving him of 14th position. Reigning champion Spork found resistance from rookie Zell, as just behind it was another newcomer, Mika Hakimi, who put on an audacious move around the outside of Damien Skovron to snatch 18th. It was the Malaysian's teammate who was making waves at the front, however, as Braksok snatched a lead from the pole sitter. Skovron now found himself under attack from the royal blue of Matthew Williams, but the pole held on around the outside at turn 4. Dennehan, meanwhile, found the Super Venturi of Jan Grankvist storming up the inside of him at turn 1, and a lap later the Filipino Finn overtook Braksok for the lead in a similar fashion. The visceral eSports car of Martin Maguli dived up the inside of Hakimi at turn 4. Contact was made, but Maguli could not gain position. Instead, the Hungarian found the valet of Giordano Valeriano and the Super Venturi of Jukka Pegalalu, demoting him to 26th position. Valeriano was then overtaken by the NX27 of Costas Van Vukas as French debutant Tom Latiou impressed by going around the outside of Alex Siebel's Ferrari into turn 1. On lap 12, Dennehan grew tired of staring at the back of Braksok's pink and green Arnage Brabham and decided to deploy some electrical power to get ahead into turn 1. The Irishman then used the DRS to retake the lead from Grankvist into turn 4 as the canny triple champion Jerne Simoncic decided now was the moment to strike, clearing Braksok to climb his Burst Next View car up to 3rd. Braksok's day was then ruined by a faulty steering wheel and he had to stop to fix the problem, dropping the Hungarian to last. Grankvist was the first of the leaders to pit on lap 15 to swap the mediums for the hard tyre. Meanwhile, Merguli was making another attack on Hakimi, who left just enough space for the visceral car. Hakimi's Arnage Brabham lost traction on the outside line, putting it in 20th and almost out of the points. On lap 16, David Mrokcek, Latiou and Hoyer came into the pits for new tyres, followed a lap later by Siebel. Grankvist had been pushing to undercut the leaders, and Van Vukas was powerless to hold the Super Venturi at bay into turn 1. Running long on the hard tyres, Darius Andre had gotten himself briefly into the top 10, but Grankvist dispatched the visceral car into turn 11. Simoncic, Dennis Jordan and Petr Brylyak all came in on laps 18 to switch to the hard tyre. Grankvist breezed past Williams as Mrokcek went free wide with Andre and Van Vukas having undercut his teammate for position. Zell's race clutch was easy pickings for Grankvist on the DRS on the following lap, as Simoncic also made use of his tyre advantage to clear Van Vukas and Williams in quick succession. Andre was cleared by Jordan going into lap 20 as Adam Maguire pit, the R8G driver emerging in between the Ferrari stablemates. Brylyak was not about to let them escape though, and dived up the inside of the struggling Romanian driver into turn 4. Zux then decided he wanted a piece of the action too, pulling off an opportunistic dive into turn 8 as Andre struggled for traction. Zell was dispensed of by Simoncic, who had now caught up to his teammate Mrokcek. Maguire was making the most of his second set of hards by clearing Latiou, and his teammate Deval opted to follow suit, pitting on lap 22, and then making short work of Merguli, passing the visceral eSports car in a straight line as if it was standing still. On lap 23, car number 23, Dennehan dived into the pit lane, handing the race lead to Grankvist. The Irishman exited in 4th and on the medium tyre. On lap 29, the Burst Next Views swapped positions, with Mrokcek not defending at all against Simoncic, who immediately began deploying energy to attack Grankvist as Dennehan rapidly closed in upon the trio. 2 laps later and Denahan made his move on Mrokchek. The Polish driver tried to duke it out on the outside to protect his teammate. He braked too late, and that was all the invitation the Irish driver needed to sweep through. With danger now looming in the rearview mirror, Simoncic got a move on and slotted himself up the inside of Grankvist into turn 1. Denahan was determined not to be delayed and dived up the inside of the Super Venturi into turn 4 to continue his breathless pursuit. By the end of the lap, Simoncic was a sitting duck and Denahan's DRS allowed him to retake the lead unchallenged. Deval muscled his way past Zux' ground effect car to get into 10th as Grankvist pit on lap 36 for another set of hards to go to the end of the race. The 2 rookies, Van Vukas and Zell, were duking it out for 11th place, with the Greek driver making good use of DRS to come out on top. Mrokchek and Siebel pit on lap 38, leading to a scare for the burst driver as the Ferrari swept across right as the pole was being released, leading to some evasive manoeuvres. Van Vukas then had a snap of oversteer at turn 3, allowing Cizelle back past around the outside of him. The 2 leaders then pit together on lap 40 for hard tyres, with Simoncic shadowing Denahan as closely as possible to keep maximum pressure on the NX27 driver. Grankvist had been pushing like crazy and managed to jump Denahan for the net lead of the race. This led to a showdown across the main straight, with Grankvist defenceless against the DRS and double slipstream of Denahan and Simoncic, with the Slovenian deciding against a risky dive for the lead into turn 1. Maguire and Jordan made their second stop, with Jordan quickly passing Zell. Latiu and Zux were having a fabulous battle for 8th, with the Hungarian getting through despite the Frenchman's best efforts to hold on around the outside into turn 4. Behind this was Deval, who took advantage to try and pass Brylyak around the outside. The Dutchman went off track and then made contact with the Alpine as he rejoined. The RHE wisely conceded the position back to the Croatian driver before immediately fighting back down the main straight and squeezing past on the inside, catching Brylyak by surprise in a cheeky but legal manoeuvre. Latiu was next in Deval's sights, with the race clutch powerless against his push to pass. Then it was immediately on to Zux, with the DRS elevating Deval to 8th despite almost outbraking himself into turn 1 as Brylyak took advantage to overcome Latiu and begin a charge of his own. On lap 48, Simoncic pounced up the inside of Denahan at turn 4, looking to deny Denahan's first victory and instead take win number 27. The NX27 refused to give up, absolutely hanging it around the outside, and contact was briefly made, sending Denahan across the runoff, but he was able to continue as Maguire now joined the party. The next lap, Mrokchek saw an opening left by Grankvist into turn 1 and slotted into 3rd place as Grankvist saw his first podium slip away from him. To add insult to injury, Maguire had a run on the mediums into turn 11, getting himself up into 4th. Brylyak had cleverly saved up his hybrid power to pass Deval and Siebel to get the Alpine into the top 7 in the closing stages, as Schleuter had gamely carried on after his lap 1 calamity to climb all over the back of Hakimi for 22nd place. Maguire tried to ward off a counter-attack from Grankvist, but the RHG's mediums were starting to grain on the penultimate lap, creating the opportunity for Super Venturi to wrestle back 4th position. Approaching the final lap, Denahan had been saving his energy for this moment, and Simoncic tried in vain to break the toe, but the NX27 had the run, pulling across the exact right moment to retake the lead. Latiu caught Martin for 10th on the final lap with a brave move around the outside at turn 4 with minor contact between the two as the race clutch completed the move. A first victory beckoned for Denahan though, who smashed his previous best result of 11th in terrific style to win the Bahrain Grand Prix and take Netrex's first victory since Austria 2016, after an amazing drive in only his 9th World Championship start. Simoncic fell just short of victory after giving absolutely everything to outdo the Irishman, but himself and Mrokchek rounded out the podium to put Burst Next View in the lead of the team's championship. Grankvist equalled his best result for the second race in a row with 4th, as Jordan also snatched 5th on the final lap from Maguire. Then it was Brylyak and Siebel, with Deval taking his best finish in 9th, as Latiu rounds out the top 10 after a superb debut. Spork's title defence got off to a tough start in 11th, with him overcoming Martin and Zux on the final tour. The second burst squad of Hoyer and Skovron were 14th and 15th ahead of Williams and Callas. Van Vukas and Zell scored points on debut along with Lalu, who rounds out the top 20. Just missing out on points were Andre, Schleuter and Hakimi, as Braxok was left to rue another lost opportunity. Peugeot had a tough run to 25th ahead of Valeriano, Merguli and Musadis. Van den Eet and Bock were sadly both forced to retire early on. For the second season in a row, the opening round has seen a debut winner, but can Dennehan keep his outstanding form up, or will Burst, Alpine or Ferrari wrestle their way back to the top? We'll find out in Barcelona on the 28th of May. From me, Edward Hunter, and from the Gulf island of Bahrain, Manama, it's goodbye.